The voice of Mama from the cloud. Hey, morning.
Well, this meeting is being recorded and everybody got it? This is it. No plausible deniability anymore. This goes up on the internet.
All
Right, floating meeting controls, and we've got it all. Well, watch this. See how it doesn't work again? And yeah, you don't care, but I care. Okay, there we go. Everybody check and make sure that your phones are not online with us, because that makes a problem. And Jim Goodenough, would you please lead us in the pledge?
Please face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And Joe.
Good morning.
Really, really sorry about the game last night.
I figured you might be.
Yeah.
Well, you know, the Tampa Bay would have beat them anyways.
Is that right?
Yeah. So
Well, okay, then this is a good thing. It's a mercy. They won't get injured.
That's right. There we go.
Yeah.
I knew I'd get sympathy here. All right, but we know who won Saturday, don't we?
Oh, yeah, bring it up.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
My body lies over the ocean. The old favorite. My body lies over the ocean. My body lies over the sea. My body lies over the ocean. Oh,
Bring back my Bonnie to me. Bring back my Bonnie to me. Bring back my Bonnie to me.
Someone's in the kitchen with Dinah.
Well, there it goes again. I'm just determined that this little technology thing is going to be great. It is equally determined. Uh-oh.
I need to share it. Oh, there we go.
You know, this thing told me it was going to be a little tricky. Can we do this? Readers, we didn't have Brian Purcell, but we had a bunch of people up there. If you were greeting people and saying hello, then you are pretty much everybody in the room, right? But we had some official greeters up there. Who were you? Yeah.
Good.
Ah, that's right. You jumped in. You look a lot like Brian Purcell. You ride a bike like that guy? Well, not just back from France. You traveled a lot of places. Have you ever ridden on a bike around in the world?
I've heard it in different places.
Huh.
And some bikes are only have one speed, 1 gear.
My bike only has one speed. That's still in the garage. So, Bob was chair of the setup team, and Jim is going to help us to take it all down. You double duty today. Thank you. Thought for the day, Darlene Brazil. Darlene, are you? I know you're there.
Unmute.
Had to get unmuted, sorry. So thought from Maya Angelou. I have found that among its other benefits, giving liberates the soul of the giver.
Speak up.
Can you say that again?
So it says, I have found that among its other benefits, giving liberates the soul of the giver.
Among other benefits, giving liberates the soul of the giver. That's wonderful. Thank you, Darlene. And Let's see who's on Zoom. Hey, Michael, you want to say hello to those folks and call them out?
Yeah, it looks like we have, let's see, we're getting non-Zoom folks on there too. Looks like we've got Judy Rice, Barbara Barney. Good morning, Bill Schlutius, Darlene, Diana, Jim Goodenough, Joyce is there, Linda, Wayne, oh, Wayne is here. That's it, I think. Did I miss anybody who's on Zoom?
Jim's here.
Jim Blum is here.
All right, good.
Thank you, Jim. Okay, let's see if I can make this again this time. It just doesn't want to do it. All right, it was working earlier. Okay, on to you all. And we've got a moment that's most amazing and inspiring. Barbara Barney, are you in the audience?
Yes, sir. I sure are.
Great. Barbara, your recognition as a major donor to the Rotary Foundation Level 4 has arrived. And I know with you, it's all about the people and the stories. Thank you so much. Could you share with us a little bit about what made you excited to give at this level to the Rotary Foundation?
It's a couple of things. First is, as a CPA, you're worried about where the money goes. And with the Rotary Foundation, their stewardship policies, you know that the money is going exactly where you think it is. It's not getting diverted, enriching anybody, blah, blah, blah. But the most important part is the Rotary Foundation is unique. We get to spend the money that we donate. We get to choose who gets it, what the projects are, and we can go and visit and touch the projects and the people. One of the things that's really that I've enjoyed, my husband and I have enjoyed over the years, is traveling to where we have had projects in Ecuador, in Mexico, in Uganda, and seeing the difference that it makes for people, and that these are their solutions to their problems. It's not our solutions to their problems. And the other part is here in our local community, we also get to spend it with district grants. So, how can you not donate when you know that you also get to choose how to spend the money? It's just, makes me happy.
Barbara, you are an inspiration. That's what more can I say? Thank you so much. That's an amazing thing. Love you dearly. Miss you lots. Well, there are some anniversaries, and Charlie, did you wake Christine up and tell her how lucky she is to have you?
Yes, I left a detailed note.
Very nice. And
how many years? Oh, 37. 37. A detailed note.
Off to a good start. And Brian, you've got an anniversary.
Ellen and I, 34 years. We met across the hall from each other at Stanford. So one-stop shop degree and everything. So we're gonna go kayaking and have a picnic Friday.
Nice, good going. And Scott, here you are. And many of us were there. How many were there when Scott got married?
Yeah, that was a great party, huh?
Oh,
Yeah.
it's time to renew the vows. We need a party.
Yeah, that's 11 years ago. I figure I'll go over to Safeway and, we'll have a little party in the parking lot.
Okay.
You're gonna go through her line and get checked out.
and David and Susan in a date that I will never forget because it's Columbus Day. But would somebody please call me next Tuesday and remind me, just in case? I do not want to make any mistakes. I'm going to try to make this thing work one more time, and then I'm going to, yeah. You know what was funny? Worked last night.
You didn't reboot it.
Okay. Are there some magic moments? Yes, there are some magic moments. And the next few slides, we're going to see a whole lot more of people going out and doing social stuff with each other. This was pretty cool.
Yeah, we had a great turnout to help out at the food bank this month. So we had a group of 8 representing Rotary Club of Sebastopol Sunrise, and want to thank everybody that showed up. Joe and Patty were there, and David was there, Jim Blom and Bob Keyser. So yeah, it was just a lot of fun. Marianne Hopper was there too, and Michael. So we had a great time, and it was good turnout to represent Rotary. We had a lot of fun.
It was awesome. That was my first time. I was really impressed with how secure things felt. Because it was all open air like this. You can see that it's really secure in that we've got plenty of air around us, the sides are open, and people are wearing masks except when they're taking pictures. And what happens on First Friday can only be known by the people who showed up. Kathy, thank you very much. How did you feel about the turnout and what was happening there? Let me catch you with some food.
We forgot to take pictures. Well, my purse was at Mary Ann's house, so I didn't have, but I think there was like 17 of us.
I have pictures, Kathy.
Oh, well, you should have sent them to David.
I'll get them up on Facebook.
So anyway, yeah, it was nice. Yeah.
Really glad to see it. Thanks for putting that together. That's kind of a cool clubhouse, isn't it? And then, how about that? Biggest turnout yet, right? Who wants to talk about this? Anybody want to talk about this? Well, Jerry, the photo man. There.
We had a great time hiking at the new Jenner Headlands Preserve, and I took the photo, so I'm not in it, but I really hyped the whole thing because the hawk migration is going on right now, and I said, we're going to see all kinds of birds, all the hawks, the raptors, everything like that, and it was so beautiful and calm. There was no wind, and so the birds weren't flying because they like to they like to soar with the wind. So I didn't want to disappoint, so I added there's American kestrel starting from the left, American kestrel, a white-tailed kite, a couple of red-tailed kites, a Cooper's hawk, and another red-tail.
You know, every time I get out by the coast and there's a bunch of birds around, it reminds me of something. I have this odd feeling. And the guy who's rarely seen in photographs, the guy who's always behind the camera, Jerry. And look at that view. Man, we walked up there, we saw a bobcat too. That was awesome. And PJ, are you in the audience somewhere? Still out on the extraterrestrial highway. Marty, a great moment. Yes, sir. That's my son and his wife, Brianna. And we were in a very interesting venue, which is, it says Cloverdale on the invitation, but it's like you're halfway to Boonville. And so hopefully everybody was careful on the way home, because we had over 100 people there, I guess. Probably the most significant thing that brought
tears to Jimmy Bertoli's eye, who performed the ceremony, our friend Judge Bertoli, was that he mentioned that 20 years ago, he presided over Jacob's adoption that Susan and I did when we adopted Jacob when he was 5 years old. And so this was a very special time for him as well. And things turned out very, very well, and we had a good wedding, and everyone is safe, sound, and on honeymoon.
Was I with a ring bearer?
Yes and no. He was dressed up, but couldn't quite keep things in straight. So Trey was there, dressed up, but he was not actually carrying anything up.
And Joe Gaz, you were there too, huh? Were you the ring bearer?
I was there. No, we were there to make sure Marty behaved himself. Yeah, it was a fine time. Terry Kelly and Susan were there as well.
Oh, nice.
On the club, so you had a little bit of representation.
And a shining penny, Brian Bauer. And come on up near the podium if you don't mind.
Yeah, and $50 to Sunrise Foundation for that Stanford win. I'm looking for the O this morning. We usually see a big O over there and be quiet. Anyway, my shining penny moment is when I first moved to town, like 21 years ago, looking for how to be, enter into the community and everything. And of course, Rotary eventually came along with Dan and Daryl Davis, but much closer to home was Grayton. There's a big controversy going on because when you went down Grayton almost any day, there were like hundreds of workers on the street. And you pull over, you try to get workers for $7 or $8 an hour to work on your house or whatever, and then you get swarmed. It was very chaotic. The neighbors were stressed out. People were trying to figure out how they can fix this. So some people really cared because they thought it was inhumane how it was working, and some neighbors just wanted it to be prettier. So there's a whole consensus effort that happened at Grayton, all different stakeholders in the community. And so my wife got involved, and then I got involved later when they really wanted to execute what the consensus agreed to, which is building a center just off the main street. And we needed to find builders and land. And Orrin Thiessen he stepped forward and he donated some land. But a lot of the community members didn't get along with him. And I stepped up with Susan Shaw, we were co-chairs, and we worked through the execution of the dream. And that was the most challenging thing, is just getting all of these different stakeholders to work together, work with Orrin as people were yelling at him, and we worked really, really well together. And so now there's a nice center. Wayne and I put the sign up, so Rotary donated the signs. It's a nice, really robust sign out there. And now you've got a center. It's not just people on the street with chaos. There's wage protection, there's legal protection if people get hurt. They join the AFL-CIO. Absolutely beautiful thing. It's all about dignity and respect. That's the message for the people all around that community. But when you ask, are people legal? All of us involved, like, we're not police force, and we don't, enforce laws. These are just people. We're just helping each other out. So it's been really, really wonderful, and it still exists today. And I thank Orrin a ton and Susan Shaw, but she's spoken here before. So that's my penny moment.
That's a lovely penny moment. That's right. How many people here have?
That was $100 worth.
Okay, Marty, you chip in and help them out. Oh no, you're still paying for the wedding. So, thank you very much for that, Brian. And how many people here have utilized folk from Grayton Day Labor Center? Look at that as legacy, and Rotary's participation in that has been grand too. Okay, oh, you know what, Brian? Just for fun, I wanted to show a little bit of something here.
Okay, so $50 for Sunrise Foundation, another 50 for Paul Harris for that penny moment. And the one on the right, that's that's for our anniversary, so another $50 for Sunrise Foundation. And then on the left, this was just last weekend, the whole family, we did Mammoth Mountain and Mount Whitney in the same weekend. So that's us at the top of Mount Whitney, 3 kids and and my oldest son's girlfriend. But that was quite a feat. I was really concerned my wife wouldn't make it, but she was fine. And yeah, you never know when you're gonna get the whole family together again like that. So
Wow,
big moment.
that's so lovely. And at a time like that, when you're up at the top, do you yodel?
There was some sound of music, singing, and so forth. You get a little bit crazy at 14,000 feet.
Lovely. Well, thank you, Brian. Thank you.
Thanks.
Anybody with a moment of gratitude that they want to share? A moment that they go, oh.
Sorry, this is not a small one. Last night was Stan Jones's 92nd birthday.
Whoa!
It's another 50 for Paul Harris, yeah. It's
Man.
huge, yeah.
Yay! Anybody else before we move on? Oh, here's Linton. There we go.
Marty, you'll understand this. I'm grateful for my wife. She's a teacher. She went through 8 years with the same class, and she is working so hard. And she was just recently told by one of her 7th graders, she said, "You're the best teacher ever." So $50 Paul Harris.
Lovely. What music to her ears for how hard she works. I know that from what you told me, she gets up early, she works till late, she's on it all the time. Anybody who thinks teaching is a great and easy job should give it a try.
David Mark, I just want to point out that the director of the new James Bond movie is a graduate of Amley High School.
Darn! How about that?
Graduated. I believe his dad is in the other Rotary. But anyway, he is a Japanese American student, and he went to Amley High School, and I think he graduated in '85. It says there's an interview in maybe the Press Democrat today under the entertainment section. Somebody told me, I haven't seen it. I've seen it online, but anyway, somebody that made good.
That's fantastic. And in that franchise, the Bond series, there have been 24, and he is the first director who was an American. Okay.
So Marty, one last thing, Marty also, another Amley graduate, just got funded, I read that for his barbecue sauce.
Start over.
Gil.
I don't know his name, but one of Gil, yeah. Justin Gill, I read on Facebook, the Amley page, he just got a startup for his barbecue sauce. And I was actually in Costco on Monday and they have it over there. So Amley does good stuff.
Isn't that cool to have a local school that does so well? Speaking of local schools that do well, the interviews are started up for outbound exchange students next year. I did the preliminary presentations, and we've got folk responding. So we've got some students who are keen to get out in the world and start doing things. How cool is that?
David Mark.
Oh, no.
I got one other thing I have to tell you.
How much money do you have?
Well, a lot. Minus. Oliver is in jail, but that's another story. He's getting retrained. I think the communists call it retraining camp. But anyway, I just want to point out that at Church Sunday, they announced that they wanted to gather clothes for Laguna High School students, that they have students that are short of clothes and they want to have clothes that still have tags on them and are fairly new. And I suggested that they contact both Rotary clubs to see if we could help the students at Laguna High School with this project, but apparently there is a need for good clothing for these students as winter approaches.
That's lovely, and I'm thinking there's probably nothing in my closet that they would wear. But it's always possible, one never knows, and we can reach out to our friends and neighbors and have a look at that. Okay, so these are some items that you want to put on your calendar. If you like hiking, Monday mornings, 7:30, parking lot over by Hop Monk is a cool place to go. Now, you probably all received an email about the district conference that is this weekend, the 8th and the 9th, starts on Friday with the ethics awards, ethics in business. Remember we were talking about that? So there's that, and have your baseball swag ready, and it's very timely to have your baseball gear. As a matter of fact, why don't we think about this? Would it be cool if you put on your baseball regalia next week? You just bring in anything you like about baseball. This is kind of, I'm channeling Lori Darling, who used to have thematic days. What about that? Wouldn't that be cool? So it's playoffs. So put on your team, winning or losing, put on your team gear and bring it in. And if you do, there may be a prize for you. Hey, do you guys like the flowers? Nice flowers. Picked them last night. Stuck them in my car. October 12th, 5:30, membership meeting on Zoom. Kathy Rogers, a highly successful committee to be a part of. And looking for more. Oh, find me somebody. And October 27th, our district governor, Dustin Littlefield, will be here visiting our club. Lori made arrangements for him to stay over at a local hotel. And so the evening before, 5 o'clock, we'll have a special board meeting with Dustin. It's going to be at Coldwell Banker. And then we will prepare about an hour and a half. So that's a board member only meeting. And board members, be thinking about what's of interest, what our accomplishments are thus far, and also what things we need to share that we're challenged with, that would be helpful for Dustin to know and share. So if you can prepare that and be set to come over there and be prompt on time, then at 6:30, let's prepare to Woodford and have a social. To that, every club member is invited. Hope you will be there. And Dustin is one of the youngest district governors that the district has had, and is really working hard to try to make an interesting transitional time work for everybody. So he's probably going to have some good things to say. And he'll be in for the meeting the next morning. Okay, any other announcements for the good of the order? Okay, next week's program, Los Cien. Herman Hernandez and Lisa Carrener will be presenting about Los Cien, the Sonoma County organization advancing belonging, trust, and equity by engaging with our community, facilitating honest dialogue, and levitating Latinx pride and power in Sonoma County. How about that for cool? And, nope. Libby Flower. There we go.
Okay. Let me introduce Doctors Flower and Wisman at the back table there. Both of them are longtime Sebastopol medical doctors. Kathleen Wisman was in family practice. Maybe you still are at this point.
You want me to make breakfast?
And Dr. Flower, you may have met her at the ER at Palm Drive. They have established a new facility in town for urgent care, and so they're here today to tell us more about that. So here you go.
I am Libby Flower, and I've been, sure. Okay. So I'm the talker, she's the quiet one. I'd like to introduce my partner, Kathleen. She's been here since 1995, straight out of Stanford residency, a family practice, and has a huge following of patients that adore her. She worked in solo practice until 2015, and then went over to Gravenstein and served there for 5 more years, and then went to Healdsburg. And we met in Healdsburg. I had retired from emergency medicine because the nights were getting kind of hard for an old lady. And I thought, I always used to say when I got old, I'd do primary care. So we met in a primary care clinic. I hear myself so loud. Okay. Anyway, I'm pretty much Sonoma County bred. I went to the JC in Sonoma State and UCSF, and then came back here to finish up residency here at Sinead, and stopped off at St. Mary's in the city for a year in internal medicine. That's pretty much my background. Started doing emergency medicine, moonlighting to support my family, and had a job when I finished residency. So that's how I found myself doing emergency medicine. Started working at Palm Drive in 2001. Before I went to medical school, I was an X-ray tech at Palm Drive. So I have deep roots here too. In fact, my roots are older than hers. Anyway, so we were working at Healdsburg in the corporate setting, getting pressured to see a patient every 15 minutes. And we were there until 8:30 at night every night. And I thought, wow, no wonder I didn't want to do primary care, because it was way harder than ER. I have a lot of respect for primary care doctors, and I actually am one now myself. So Kathleen and I would commiserate through the evening and into the night about how hard the new corporate model of medicine was, and we would talk about how we could improve it. And we're both West County residents. Kathleen lives in Bodega Bay, and I live in Freestone. And we saw Sebastopol as being just a perfect place to start a practice. And Susan Moulton came to me one day, and she goes, I'm on the old Palm Drive Foundation board. And she said, Libby, I'm gonna close down the foundation unless you wanna open an urgent care. And the light went on, and here we are. We've been open for 6 weeks. We have comprehensive medical services. We're trying to replace the old emergency room within legal bounds. We're open 365 days a year. We're shorter days on holidays and weekends because 2 people can only do so much, but we're still open from 11 to 5 on holidays and weekends to serve the community. And we want to bring as high a level of medicine to our urgent care as possible. We're planning on getting the old X-ray machine working at our facility that used to be Dr. Campbell's. And we plan to have IV therapy, which most urgent cares don't have. And we do a number of fairly advanced emergency services. Most of our doctors that are waiting, we can't quite afford to hire doctors yet, but when we get there, we have a number of doctors that have had emergency room experience, and so we're gonna have pretty high level care. We also have 2 primary care practices. It's a new model called concierge care, and it helps doctors keep their doors open. a lot of the private docs, they've gone out of business because they've had to hire an army of people to get reimbursement from the insurance companies. So with the large staffs, the private doctors would have to see 20 to 30 patients a day to pay their overhead. And the concierge model charges patients to be in the practice. It does unfortunately come out of the patients, but it does allow the doctors to not have McDonald's medicine. It allows us to see 10 patients or 12 patients a day and focus on the patients for extended periods of time. You can't do good medicine in 15 minutes. With my background, even in emergency medicine, I would see anywhere from 20 to 25 patients in a 12-hour shift, and that's a half an hour a patient, and that's when you're just really pushing hard. That's a hard day. And primary care is not a whole lot easier than emergency medicine, especially with the more complicated patients. And you have to address, the emergency room doctor doesn't need to know about your gallbladder attack 5 years ago, but the primary care doctor does. So there's a lot of complexity there. So that's why we decided, Kathleen had been looking at the concierge model for quite a while, and between us, we decided that that would be a good solution. It would enable us to provide the care we want to provide and practice the way we want to. So we're practicing on our own terms, and I know it's brazen of us to go out on our own because nobody does it anymore. We got a lot of raised eyebrows from our colleagues, and they're watching us. But things are going pretty well. I think we've been open for 5 weeks. We're seeing about 12 patients a day, and the concierge practices are doing well. The urgent care is doing very well, and people are so grateful. And what do you say? We're living the dream. Yeah. You have a question?
Yeah, I just have to ask you a question, and that's, what do you charge as the starting fee for the concierge medicine?
Yeah, our fees are $1,500 a year for a single patient, or $2,500 a year for a couple or family. And for concierge medicine, that's the low end of the scale. We do take some pro bono cases. Certain people that just really need help, we will give them a free membership. We can't do too much of that, but on a case-by-case basis, we definitely want to. So.
Where are you located?
We're located in Dr. Campbell's old office. It's right north of the hospital. If you go in the last hospital exit from the parking lot, you can just pull right in front of our building. It's almost a shared parking lot.
555 Petaluma.
Yeah, 555 Petaluma.
Hands up if you want to ask a question.
Yes?
No, they can use this call.
Are you billing insurances also?
Absolutely, yeah, we're billing insurances. Meritage has a problem with us, though. Meritage is an interesting model because you have your regular insurance, Blue Cross Blue Shield or United Healthcare, and now Meritage has slipped in between the patient and the other insurance and is taking a piece of the pie. And this is a whole new model for corporate medicine, and I don't think it's a good thing. But for some reason, they're very intimidated by concierge medicine, and I'm not really sure why, because their patients are getting better care. But they're having some reservations about taking us as in-network providers. Yeah.
So Libby, hi.
Hi.
This is Mike Cook here. So I had a burning question. It's not medical. I was wondering, are you still riding a motorcycle?
I am definitely riding several motorcycles.
Several. Whoa.
Yeah.
What's your favorite out of the batch this week?
Probably my Triumph Tiger. Yeah. Love my bikes. I know it's a little strange, but.
I was reading an article by Atul Gawand in the New Yorker about Costa Rica's style of doing national health care, and they've pretty much adopted that concierge model nationwide down there, it seems like. That's pretty cool because they put the patients on a schedule of visits depending on their priority. So they go out, they have people doing basically regular house calls every 3 to 6 months, maybe a year if the person's healthy, or more often if there's something going on. So is that similar to what you're doing with concierge?
We don't do as many house calls. There's some concierge practices that really focus on house calls and they charge more because house calls are pretty labor intensive. We will do house calls, but it's not something that we want to do a lot of because it'll take us away from the other patients. We are going to limit our practice to probably around 500 patients, we're thinking, because that's one of the reasons you pay the extra is you don't have a doctor that's just overwhelmed and working till 8:30 over every night and burned out. And I never felt burned out until I worked for St. Joseph's. Yeah, and I get it now. Yeah.
This is probably a very neophyte kind of question, but what really is the significant differences between urgent care and primary care?
Urgent care is more like watered down emergency medicine. So there's no appointments necessary. You walk in vomiting or bleeding or, and you get seen as soon as possible. But people, minor things as well can come in. People that run out of their blood pressure medicine and can't get their doctor's office to respond to them. We see a lot of travelers. It's kind of interesting. People at the campgrounds and out at Bodega Bay and the Russian River, with their foot lacerations from stepping on beer bottles. And we see a lot of different, we've been open just over 5 weeks now. And we've done shoulder dislocations. We sewed on an amputated toe tip. What else have we done? Lots of lacerations. Yeah, broken bones. Yeah. It's fun stuff.
Hello. I'm over here. I'm just curious how you interact with Medicare patients, and in general, does Medicare pay a lower reimbursement here still? And
yes, it does.
And do private practice physicians do all private practice physicians take Medicare patients?
Well, we find it to be a mandate for us. I mean, if you're an American and you're a doctor, you need to take care of Medicare patients, in my opinion. Now, some doctors say, no, we won't do it, they don't reimburse enough. Well, for us, it's not all about money. We really want to serve the community and we want to be part of the community. So we would never turn away really anybody. I mean, even Medi-Cal, we're not signed up with Medi-Cal at this point. We're trying to get signed up with them, but they do.
So right now, we accept Medicare and many different insurances. We're trying to get credentialed with Medi-Cal in partnership. It seems like that's a big need. And they're the hardest ones to get credentialed with. So we're still waiting and pursuing that. But right now, if you have a Medi-Cal insurance and you come in, we ask them to pay cash.
But our rates are 55% of Medicare. Our we're keeping our prices down because this is really important to us.
So clear when urgent care is appropriate versus going to the emergency room. So when my sweetheart walks across the room, I'm at risk for a heart attack. So where should I go?
Well, we don't recommend that people having obvious strokes and heart attacks come to the urgent care, but you know what? They land there anyway, and we need to be prepared for that. We're in the process of buying a defibrillator just in case. We don't have IB capabilities now. It will never be an emergency room. We have to draw a pretty clear line of, what our care is. But we will be calling an ambulance, and we've already done it a few times in our 5 weeks in operation, where somebody comes in and they're clearly outside of our spectrum of care. We don't have a hospital backing us up, so we don't have all the resources an emergency room would have. But if they come in and they look anything like a heart attack or stroke, or we know they're not appropriate for our clinic, then we call 911. But we do all of the supportive care while they're coming. So we have oxygen and aspirin, beta blockers, all the stuff that you would do first. So
hold on a second, Marty.
I want you to talk about the
Marty?
future of medicine. I wanted you to talk about the future of medicine in a town like we're in right now.
Oh, yes.
I happened to have gone to Sutter GI yesterday, and the doctor, first of all, spent an entire hour with me, which surprised me. It was very, very thorough.
That's unusual.
But she said to me as I was leaving, she said, "I see you go to Dr. Fishman." I said, "Yeah." She said, "I wonder how long he's going to practice before he retires." He said, I said, "Well, I went to Dr. Powers and I went to Dr. Cunningham, the cardiac, and they both retired on me." So we're losing primary care physicians.
Yes, we've lost a lot of primary care, and it's because the corporations have taken over medicine, and it's the corporate medicine model is not good for Americans, in my humble opinion. They have layers and layers and layers of administrators that need to be paid. The doctors are constantly having more and more pressure to see more and more patients, to pay all that layers of other people on top of them. The doctors used to own the hospitals and their own practices. And that's the old time model, but it was a better model. It really, it was a much more personal model. You don't have to travel half an hour and park in a parking lot, spend half an hour in a waiting room and 15, seeing more and more use of mid-levels in the specialty areas. And I find that very disturbing because, I was taught well. I was trained well here at Sinead, and she was trained really well at Stanford. But when I want a cardiologist's opinion, I want somebody's opinion that knows more than I do. And a mid-level does not serve a residency. They do not, they can't know more than I do. Well, maybe that's not completely true, but in general, I would say, and that's not why I'm sending my patients to people. And then they have to wait 3 months or something ridiculous. Dr. Hopkins, that's his name, cardiologist, he probably has 10,000 patients. Yeah, and he has 4 mid-levels under him. So your chances of actually seeing the doctor are about 20%. Yeah, this is not a good model, and it's expensive. Yeah, I mean, I'm not Medicare quite yet, but my medical insurance is $1,200 a month. If I visit an ER, I give them $300, and then they charge me 40% of the entire bill. What kind of health care is that? But don't get me going.
Okay. Any last questions?
40%.
How's that if you have Medicare?
I don't.
Sorry,
No.
I was just confused.
Yeah. No, not yet, next year.
So how are you collaborating with other health groups, West County Community Health or anybody else?
Well, West County and Occidental have been sending us patients that they, don't have the time to see. They're overwhelmed. And they get paid by the month by the patient, not by the visit. It's another interesting model. This is how the federal clinics are starting to be run and managed. And they're very good. I think they're great. Kathleen, yeah, they're overwhelmed. Kathleen's an insider because she worked at Gravenstein for 5 years, but of which?
West County Community.
Oh, wow, wonderful. No, they're really well run. I mean, it's pretty impressive what they do with what they have, with their resource base.
How many patients they take care of in our county? Because in '95, we had about 17 family medicine doctors. In 1995, when I moved to town, and I was wondering if there was room for me. They all collaborated. Oh yeah, there's room. Come on, you want to be in my club group, whatever. It was very. Today, there's 3 private practice family medicine doctors, not counting us, and everybody else gets taken care of by West County. It's amazing,
In St. Joseph's and Sutter.
Well, that's yeah. I mean, just in Sebastopol or West County. So they have a huge presence here. They're just overwhelmed.
We both remember the good old days when all of those primary docs, we had 2 general surgeons and 2 orthopedists and a dermatologist and ophthalmologist, and we had a wonderful medical community. It was really ideal. And with the hospital issues, I think that's what killed it, because we need a hospital. But we're trying to reestablish a little bit of that with our practice. There's an office up for rent next door, a lovely three-room office, which I've got my eye on to maybe put another doctor in there and start, try at least to have a presence for the community. I'd like to see the people at Burbank Heights taken care of, because a lot of them don't drive. And, going into town to St. Joe's to be seen for 15 minutes is not ideal. Plus, they're complex, typically histories.
Perfect. So thank you very much for joining us today. We're all very grateful for the work that you are doing and for your presence today, both of you. Thank you very, very much. And there are some business cards back at the back. Are they available to people? Are they brought for that purpose? So we could move those forward to the table. And
you're welcome to come by for a visit and take a look at our office. We're very proud of it.
How much does that cost?
Nothing.
Free?
It's absolutely free.
Hey, we need a field trip, guys. Let's go. So thank you very much again. Very grateful for your time with us and the work that you did. So, folks, as you know, we've got some really cool Rotary masks over there. Some people have gotten them already, and those were supplied of Marnie. And $10 minimum donation. It goes to the Rotary Club, our club foundation, so it goes to a good cause. And the trick is to say, all right, well, minimum or more. Share them with your friends, your styling. And by the way, when you're walking through Safeway and people go, oh, Rotary, how cool. It feels good, and people remember that we're here. So, thank you very much for our meeting today. And Joe! Oh, wait! There's a joke! Bill, are you there?
I'm here, can you hear me?
Oh, wait, there he is.
Right.
Bill Studious. Can't hear you
Can you
at the
hear me?
moment. Yes.
All right, I have 3 short little one-liners for you. You ready?
Yeah.
All right, a man goes to the zoo. And there's only one exhibit in the entire zoo. It's a Shih Tzu. Come on. All right, what's Forrest Gump's email password? 1, Forrest, 1. And last but not least, what did the janitor say when he jumped out of the closet? Supplies!
Here we go. Nose to nose. Yeah. Good going. Okay. Joe, take us out, sir.
Trails to you, till we meet again. Trails to you, keep smiling on the way. Trails to you,
Trails to you, till we meet again.